Welcome back, guys, to another edition of Dark Powerrr, covering everything that happens on AEW Dark, Impact Wrestling, and UWN Primetime Live. We've got a lot to get to. We've got the fallout from Bound for Glory. We've got a wedding to attend. We've got a title defense from Thunder Rosa against Serena Deeb. And we've got a pretty interesting AEW Dark episode that move some storylines along, something that we don't always get with Dark. So let's get straight into it. But before we do, guys, remember to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate the support. All right, guys. So coming into Dark, we've got a boatload of matches. This was about a 2-hour-long show. You kind of felt it at some points, even though some of the matches were going pretty quickly. Starting us off, we have a tag match. The Dark Order pick up a win over Top Flight, a debuting team on AEW. I've heard some things about Top Flight. Haven't seen too many of their matches, but man, they are really good. They can go in the ring and wow, just incredible athleticism. Gotta hand it to them. I'm hoping we see more of them on AEW Dark. I can learn more about this Top Flight tag team. And yeah, Dark Order picking up a win. Good to see. Getting wins. That's what Dark Order's starting to do as they've turned the page. They're keeping that momentum going. After this, we have Ricky Starks picking up a win over VSK. Good match, quick match here. Starks picking up a win as he should, and hitting that Rochambeau. I will say Anthony Ogogo, who is a AEW signee who has been training. Also, I want to say he was recovering from an injury. I think I heard that on commentary, but he is on commentary, and he's really good on commentary, I gotta say. It adds this nice little dynamic, nice little aspect to the broadcast booth or team, and I also like that how they are starting to highlight more having individuals on commentary. Later in the show we'll have Miro. Later in the show we'll also have Ricky Starks. So Starks picking up a win here over VSK. After this, we have a backstage segment where the Bunny finally explains, with the help of Eddie Kingston, why exactly she infiltrated the Nightmare Family and why she ended up turning her back on the Nightmare Family, in particular QT Marshall. It adds a nice wrinkle to the story, how she's explaining this, but I don't know, part of it doesn't feel right, because when she was... So now they're saying, hey, we have to get through the Nightmare Family in order to get to the tag titles, so we're going to go through you. And that's fine, but when she first got with QT Marshall, Butcher and Blade were nowhere near the rankings, really. So I don't know what the exact... the storyline was. Butcher and Blade were going to climb up the ranks somehow, and then as they reached where Nightmare Family was, she was going to turn. I don't know, that part of it is a little bit confusing to me, but hey, I'll roll with it. Let's see what happens. That's one of our favorite phrases here on Dark Powerrr, and I think we're going to get some pretty good matches out of this feud. Butcher and Blade are people who can go in the ring. QT and Dustin are people who can go in the ring. We kind of know where this is going to lead. Butcher and Blade probably should be picking up the win here, but how they get there, the journey is half the fun. After this, we have Matt Sydal versus Lee Johnson, a nice athletic match here. Sydal, master of aerial moves and submissions. Lee Johnson, a technical master and aerial moves. A nice strength-on-strength match. Great stuff here. After this, we have what was, for me, one of the matches of the night in Hikaru Shida in a non-title match versus Layla Hirsch. Now, we don't often see our champions on Dark. We definitely don't really get title defenses on Dark. So having any kind of appearance from our champions, always something we appreciate. And Hikaru Shida has been a highlight of the AEW women's division, which has been sorely depleted over the past couple months. And good to see her on a match here against Layla Hirsch. I felt like Nyla Rose was going to come out or do something, because remember a couple weeks ago we had that promo from Nyla and Vicky Guerrero saying that they weren't going to do anything until she gets a title shot against Shida. I thought maybe we would get some kind of confrontation. Alas, that was not to be, but this match was really, really good. I would definitely suggest you guys watch this match, this and a match that will be happening a little bit later. But This is Miro is on commentary for this. I like Miro's reasoning for coming on commentary. Layla Hirsch is Russian. Miro is Bulgarian. He said, I wanted to come and see the Russian. Like she's a shooter. She's a ground and pound submission wrestler. That's my style. That's what I like. I wanted to see somebody else do that style. And they did a little bit of talking about the storyline build between Miro and Kip Sabian and the Best Friends. Good stuff there, but the focus was on the match as it should be, and great technical wrestling, great, just in a 6-minute match, the amount of effort that was put through was really good, and that's something I liked. I want to see Layla Hirsch come back. That is somebody who, she and Top Flight, definitely people that I want to see come back. After this, we have a promo from QT Marshall, who is later in the promo joined by Dustin, saying, hey, I get it, you guys are assholes, but we're not going to lose. That's basically the gist of the promo. QT was like, people told me, but I didn't believe them, I should have known, yada, yada, yada. All right. After this, we have a 6-man tag match where Jurassic Express picks up a win over Danny Limelight, Synergy, and Jersey Muscle. After this, we have, about this match, great match, high level of athleticism. I can see why anybody would say that this is a match of the night. For me, match of the night comes a little bit later, simply because of storyline reasons, but really great wrestling in this match. Another one that you should pick out. This, Sheeta Hirsch, and then in a couple matches are definitely the 3 from AEW Dark that you should take a look at this week. After this, we have SCU picking up a win over the Hybrid 2. I like this match simply because it gets back to what we originally wanted from Dark, right? It gets back to that AEW on AEW talent match, which is what we used to have when Dark was in front of crowds. So I like that aspect of it. It reinforces the notion that Dark is not just enhancement talent matches. There are matches that are going to have some consequences on here. I would actually personally like to see if Butcher, Blade, and Natural Nightmares, a lot of those matches, or that they will have, take place on Dark. That would be really cool. I would like that a lot. After this, Brandy Rhodes comes out to be on commentary for our next match, which is Anna Jay picking up a win over Catalina Perez. If you have not seen a shot of Brandy, fun fact about me, I do a lot of cooking. I am really big into cooking. And I'm always trying different recipes, always trying different things, experimenting in the kitchen. Shot of Brandy is a fun show that is a cooking show, a drinking show that Brandy hosts. She has AEW talent on there. They drink, they laugh, they honor their... What's the line from... Whatever that line is from the first Thor. We laughed, we drank. He honored his ancestors. They do all that fun stuff on Shot of Brandy. But most recently on Shot of Brandy, John Silver was on there, and they were in Brandy and Cody's home in Georgia. And at the end of the show, Anna Jay sneak attacked Brandy. It was the first time ever that a Shot of Brandy really had crossover aspects with the rest of AEW programming. It's always been mentioned. People always generally stay in character for the most part. Heels are heels, faces are faces. Sometimes they break a little bit of kayfabe to have a conversation with Brandy. Many other times they don't. For example, MJF's episode, Britt Baker's episode, where she and Brandy had some friction. Good stuff there too as well. But this was the first time that happened. This is now also why Brandy is on commentary. We've seen her go back and forth with Anna Jay for some time, especially on Tuesday Night Dynamite. So here we have Anna Jay picking up a win over Catalina Perez. Brandy, of course, is beside herself. They are continuing to slow burn and build this storyline out. I don't know. We're going to have to see what happens, because it seems as though Nightmare Family is pivoting towards the Butcher, Blade, and Bunny, and you would think that there's a built-in intergender 6-man tag match with those 3 versus QT, Dustin, and Brandy. But Brandy's focusing on Anna Jay. Let's see. They can easily kind of pivot for a match. Maybe Brandy gets distracted because of Anna Jay. That's one of the things that causes Butcher, Blade, and Bunny to win. That's a pretty good Dark main event to me. After this, we have what I consider the match of the night, simply for storyline reasons. Brandon Cutler. Congratulations to Brandon Cutler. He picks up his first win in AEW by finally triumphing over Peter Avalon. This was a pretty good match, actually, considering it was a no count out, no disqualification, must be a winner match that has had a lot of shenanigans. It's the easy way to say it, shenanigans. This match had a little bit of everything. It had some good in-ring work. It had some nice outside work. It had tables used. It had some comedy spots where Leva Bates is involved. She kind of, I guess, breaks up. I don't know if they were really together, but breaks up with Peter Avalon because of his dastardly tactics. There's a fun moment where, Brandon gets out a little bag, and normally you have the thumbtacks, but instead of thumbtacks, they are a bunch of dice, polyhedron, regular six-sided dice, and Avalon has books, and so they're each trying to suplex the other onto their thing. So Avalon's trying to suplex Cutler onto the books, Cutler's trying to suplex Avalon onto the dice. Fun moments there. Eventually the Bucks come out finally to give Cutler some support. If you've been watching BTE, that's one of the things that Adam Page, Hangman, has been bringing up to Cutler repeatedly, that it seems as though the Bucks don't really give a shit about him, and the Bucks are like, hey, we kind of do give a shit about you, but we also kind of don't give a shit about you. So good to see the Bucks coming out there to support Brandon Cutler, and Brandon finally gets that win. 125-2. 1 win, 25 losses, 2 ties. Incredible. Hopefully this is the start of something for Brandon Cutler. He is a guy who could be a TNT championship challenger. Maybe not champion, but challenger down the line. They could eventually build him up to be somebody who could be a champion, for sure. But he definitely could be a challenger, at the very least, down the line. This could be a bit of a momentum build for him. Maybe he faces whoever is TNT champion. Man, I don't know. Maybe sometime in February. February could be good if they have, November, December, January build slowly over time. You stack some wins, get him up there in the rankings. You got a big hole to climb out of with the 25 losses, right? But that's one of the beautiful things, is that while his all-time record will be 125-2, if I remember right, at the end of the year, the rankings reset, and so his all-time record will still be there, but his new record for 2021 will start fresh, and that'll be something that'll be good to be able to build new challengers. He'll be able to start new. Maybe that's why they're ending it now. I am just sad that this is not done at the buy-in, at least for Full Gear. That was actually one of the jokes that was happening during this past week's BTE, where people didn't realize that this match was happening on Dark as opposed to at the buy-in or actually at Full Gear. But, guys, we got to keep moving. This is a 2-hour-long show, right? After this, we have Best Friends picking up a win over Anthony Bowens, Max Caster. Pretty good match here. Max Caster, somebody we've seen on UWN as well as AEW now. Just getting that back and forth. I don't know. It feels as though there's some kind of, maybe, partnership going on. Maybe. Hold on to that thought, guys. Hold on to that thought. After this, we have a Scorpio Sky backstage segment where Alex Marquez is trying to talk to him about everything that's going on with Shawn Spears. Scorpio says, sure, let's go into my dressing room. And when he opens it, they see that everything's strewn apart in red paint or something like that. There's the word thief written on a mirror. Definitely the work of Shawn Spears. Tully Blanchard, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But if Tully Blanchard was involved in that. But definitely Shawn Spears, for sure. After this, Brian Cage picks up a quick win over Fuego del Sol. And after that, Ten picks up a win over Sean Maluda. Now we have another tag team match, but in our women's division. Ivelisse and Diamante pick up a win over Kylan King and Savannah Evans. Savannah Evans making her AEW debut. I kind of like this team, this whole matchup, simply because Ivelisse and Diamante are heels, but Kylan King and Savannah Evans dwarf them in size. And so it was a reverse on the normal David and Goliath, where the Goliath is the heel, the David is the face, the Daniel Bryan Triple H kind of thing, or Daniel Bryan versus anybody really. He's short, and there's nothing wrong with that. But here it's a flip because that's not the face, that's the heel, and Ivelisse Diamante able to pull out a win. Finally, after this, we have Sonny Kiss picking up a win over Anthony Solo, and then Lance Archer attacks. And Jake Roberts basically says, I've lost control of him. He's going to do whatever he wants to do. And Lance has a really good promo. Everybody dies, as always, but just a good promo that says he will always be coming after the championship. And regardless of who wins at Full Gear, regardless of who wins the tournament, to eventually face the champion, he will be looking for another title shot. Next, we have Will Hobbs over Nick Comoroto. You will remember Darby Allin having a good win over Nick Comoroto a couple weeks ago, and this is a quick match here. Hobbs, power move. I like the way this is booked. Darby had to go a little bit further, take a little bit longer to beat Nick Comoroto. Will Hobbs is able to do it in a shorter amount of time. Will Hobbs has a lot more power, getting over that power. And finally, speaking of Darby Allin, we have Darby Allin in the main event picking up a win over Alex Chamberlain, and then there is a confrontation with Starks and Brian Cage, who attack Darby from behind before Will Hobbs comes back out to make the save. They're just keeping Darby fresh for the eventual match against the winner of the TNT title match. He'll be facing that person at Full Gear. That match is supposed to be happening on Dynamite the very next night, when Cody defends against Orange Cassidy in a lumberjack match. All right, guys, we are going to be moving onwards to our Impact Wrestling episode of today, and that is, I don't know, this was kind of a weird episode for many reasons. They kind of moved things really quickly in the beginning that I thought maybe should have been saved towards the end, but then when you remember what's supposed to be happening, you're like, okay, that also makes sense. But a lot of, I don't know, vignettes, backstage segments, that kind of stuff for a show that's coming out of the biggest pay-per-view of the year. And that part kind of felt a little jarring. It's fine going into it as a go-home show. Coming out of it, I guess maybe you want to give people a rest. Sure. So starting us off is Rich Swann and Eric Young brawling in the back. Congratulations to Rich Swann again for winning the Impact World Championship at Bound for Glory, which reminds me, if you guys haven't seen the roundtable review for Bound for Glory, we do have it up on our YouTube site now where you are watching this, and I am on it. Roundtable Rebel Ness is on it. True Pot Heel Chris G, Joints and Jabronis is on there, and of course Sid is on there as well. Four of us breaking down everything that happened on Bound for Glory. But at Bound for Glory, Rich Swann won the World Championship, and now here he is in a brawl against Eric Young. Eric Young wants his rematch. Scott D'Amore says this isn't how you get it. Swann says if he wants it, give it to him. Give it to him right now. We'll do this. Rich Swann, in street clothes, is able to pull out a win over Eric Young in about 3-4 minutes. Quick match, hits the splash. He's able to pick up the win, and that does away with Eric Young's rematch clause. So you gotta be smart. See, this is a situation where Eric Young was not smart. He was very smart in how he acquired the title. He was very smart in how he defended the title and how he antagonized Rich Swann. But here, he is showing some mistakes. And that is something that we need to be paying attention to. Is this a further descent into madness for Eric Young? You can be a maniac, but you can also be a calculated maniac. And is Eric Young finally losing that edge now that he has been thwarted when he tried to keep the world title? We'll have to pay attention to this. After this, we see Havoc and Nevaeh in the back. Havoc says, Father James Mitchell. Why did I say Marshall? Father James Marshall. Father James Mitchell. He's back. And Nevaeh says, I got a bad feeling about this. I don't know, Han Solo. We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see if there's a bad feeling about this. After this, we have a backstage segment where the women of the Knockouts division are hanging around trying to find Scott D'Amore to figure out what's going to go on with the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships. Now, we know that these titles are coming back in a couple weeks, and Caleb with a K says that, posted on social media, which makes sense considering how plugged in he is, that there's going to be an 8-team tournament that starts in 3 weeks. Because of this segment, we're going to get a match later today with Tasha Steelz and Kara Hogan teaming up to face Jordynne Grace and Alicia Edwards, a brand new tag team of sorts. After this, we have a match that made zero sense to me in Tommy Dreamer versus Brian Myers in a Halloween hardcore match. This match went over 11 minutes in length. It was the longest match of the night. Hornswoggle was involved. Barbecue tongs, grill tongs, was used on Brian Myers' groinal area. Tommy Dreamer does pick up the win. There is thumbtacks mixed in with candy corn, which I thought was kind of funny considering we had just seen polyhedron dice and regular six-sided dice in AEW for a similar concept of a match. But I don't get why this was happening here when it could have happened at Bound for Glory. I don't know, just part of it seemed as though... And then also, why is Tommy picking up the win? Brian Myers is the guy you should be getting over. But whatever, it's fine. After this, we have Heath and Rhino discussing the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match and the win. Heath says he'll be signing his contract next week. Heath and Rhino say that they're interested in going after the tag titles, and it looks as though Heath is definitely injured. We'll see what happens. Falaba gets accosted by Hernandez and Reno Scum. They ask him for the money. He says, I don't have it. They rip his shirt off. He doesn't have the money, as he usually has been wearing it around his neck. And he tells them that Johnny Bravo has it, which we know is not true. When they leave, he reaches into his tights and pulls out the money. A little gross. After this, we have an announcement that Hard to Kill will be coming back on January 16th. Mark your calendars. We will be with you every step of the way, and probably will be on the round table for that as well. Next, like I said, some of these things made sense. Some of these things didn't make sense. What didn't make sense is this next match. Triple XL pick up a win over the Rascals. Sid is probably beside himself about this. I am not as beside myself. I'm just more confused. Why would you do this? Triple XL doesn't need this win. Rascals need this win. And it just, Rascals yet again. It's a horrible situation. Okay, now a little bit of comedy comes in. We have a segment backstage where Deonna Purrazzo's lawyer is saying that they're going to file an injunction if Scott, by the end of the night, doesn't strip Su Yung of the title and give it to Deonna Purrazzo. Scott says, we can talk about this in the ring. And that ends that segment. Then we have Motor City Machine Guns getting confronted while they're trying to do an interview by Triple XL. Triple XL is saying, we're going to be the ones who take the tag titles from the North. Motor City Machine Guns not too sure about that. And then they attack Shelly, who's got the neck damage from that pile driver from the North at Bound for Glory. Next, we have the continuation of the lawyer segment where they are now in the ring. And after some funny moments where Scott D'Amore says something that's actually pretty interestingly true, where even if they were to file a TRO, a temporary restraining order, injunction, technically Su Yung would not be stripped of the title. Su Yung would still be the champion. So Deonna's not really getting what she wants in the short term. In the long term, it's just difficult for Deonna to win. So instead, Scott says, why not use your rematch clause? And after some careful consideration, Deonna agrees and says that next week she will take on Su Yung for the Knockouts Championship. After this, Su Yung shows up. There's some mandible claw action going on here, and Deonna looks to be not in a good position. And I will say I like that they highlighted that Deonna's theory is that Su Yung took out Kylie Rae, and that's why Kylie was not at Bound for Glory. After this, there is a cool kind of backstage moment that parts of it doesn't make sense. So here the Rascals, all three of them this time around, are talking to Rich Swann. Willie Mack is there. Moose is going to show up and say, you're not the real champion, I am. There's a change in the demeanor now because he is now controlling his narrative. He has changed because of what EC3 did, and it looks as though we're going to get Willie Mack versus Moose next week, or maybe the week after. And then when Swann is walking away, he runs into Shammy, and Sami Callihan says, hey, haven't talked to you in a while, buddy. Trying to get you into OVE, but didn't work out. But now that you're world champion, it seems as though you and I are going to be talking a lot more frequently. So a couple things about this segment. One, the Dez and Wentz seemed not put out at all that they had just lost to Triple XL a few moments ago. Next, during the back and forth with Moose, Swann dropped the title, like on a chair. When they walked away and everything was kind of settled, he goes into a room, and that's where Shamrock and Callahan are, but he didn't, like, go back for his title. You just went through hell to get the title. Quite literally, went through hell to get the title. Then you just went through hell again to retain it really quickly right now, and you just don't go back for the title. You're like, whatever, it's fine. It's over there on a chair. Possession, 9/10 of the law. This is wrestling. Weirder things have happened. Who cares? I don't know. Something about that just seemed a little weird to me. Maybe somebody pointing that out could have just quickly reshot it, whatever the case may be. But next, we have the North in a backstage segment. They get confronted with the Good Brothers. The North has a great line where they say, what if the Good Brothers are the worst investment Impact's made in a while? And they get to a little bit of a brawl after Ethan Page smacks Luke Gallows. That's probably not going to work out too well for the North. Next, we have a Rohit Raju celebration. Whatever. He won the match as he should have won the match. Next, Bravo tells Falaba that Hernandez is coming after him, and he is sick of it, and Falaba is no longer the best man. And Falaba says, I got a bad feeling about this. Okay, there's a lot of bad feelings that are continuing to go on. Even earlier in the night, somebody's saying bad feeling about this. So maybe that's, I don't know, see what happens. Next, we have in the main event, Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan picking up the win over Jordynne Grace and Alicia Edwards. This was kind of a well put together match in that the team that has been around for a while in Steelz and Hogan pick up the win over Jordynne Grace and Alicia Edwards, who are teaming for the first time and are having some communication issues. I liked that about it. They kept something that made sense and should make sense in a match when you have these different factors coming into play. Finally, Alicia Edwards rushes back to the backstage area where Rosemary and Taya are talking, and Taya has some concerns. She's got some concerns about what Johnny Bravo is turning into, but Rosemary won't hear it. And she's getting ready to go down to the aisle. And Taya Valkyrie says again that she's got some bad feelings about this. But, guys, if we're going to attend a wedding, you got to be properly dressed. So, oh gosh. All right, here we go. It's a wedding. Now, we know that at wrestling weddings, things never work out the way they should. Maybe this will be an exception. And I appreciate the fact that Impact did a really good job of turning this on its head. Normally you have somebody attacking somebody, you have a reveal that somebody is evil, you have somebody leaving somebody at the altar. That's usually how these things work in wrestling, right? And after a pretty good segment, I gotta admit, the lights go out right after Bravo and Rosemary are supposed to kiss, and when the lights come back on, Johnny Bravo has been shot dead. Dead as a doornail, dead as a doorknob, dead as whatever you want to call it. Dead as my Broncos' chances of making the playoffs. Just dead. It's horrible. Who shot Bravo? That's what we're going to be working on. That's what we're going to be finding out. And I, for one, love a good mystery. So, let's see how they want to build all of this out. Who shot Bravo? That's what I want to know. But something that we do also need to know is what's going to happen when Thunder Rosa, our NWA Women's Champion, puts her title on the line against Serena Deeb in the main event of UWN Primetime Live. Now, guys, this has been something we've talked about for a while, this synergy. And I'm going to quickly move through some of these matches. Rey Rosas is going to pick up a win over Kevin Martinson and he's defending the Hollywood Heritage Championship yet again. Kevin Martinson with the electric gimmick has a great theme. Oh God, my suit fell on the ground. My suit jacket fell on the ground. Either way, it doesn't matter. After this, suit jacket's all over the place because Aaron Stevens shows up on commentary wearing a suit jacket, tie, the whole 9 yards, saying that he is coming back and that he is upset about having lost his NWA Third Degree National Heavyweight Championship to Trevor Murdoch. He says that he has found, or he has reconnected with the Question Mark, and they are going to be going after the tag titles of James Storm and Eli Drake. A great line here. I wrote this down from my notes. He said, "Sometimes I paint in laughter. Sometimes I paint in blood." Great line. Absolutely loved it. They got some great people when it comes to cutting promos in the NWA, whether it's James Storm, Eli Drake, Aaron Stevens, Nick Aldis, Tim Storm, the list goes on. Sadly, Eddie Kingston is no longer one of those people, but we get to see him on AEW Dark, do we not? After this, we have the Bodega picking up a tag team win over the Real Money Bros. Danny Limelight, yet again, that synergy is coming back and forth. And then we have a promo for 11/3/20 where we're going to have Rowan, now known as Eric Redbeard. He will be making his debut on the UWN as part of the World Title Tournament. Now, here we go. Not just the match of the night on this show, but the match of all 3 shows. The Tuesday night match for me. Thunder Rosa defending the NWA Women's Championship against Serena Deeb. If there's any match that you guys watch out of these 3 shows, it's got to be this one. Really phenomenal match. Really great in-ring work. Just the story of Serena Deeb fighting, clawing her way. She now has a contract with AEW. She's faced Hikaru Shida. She was the person who they used to kind of... Now what they're doing makes sense. So before, when we saw Rosa face off against Serena Deeb, before the all-out match, it didn't make sense because why was Serena Deeb able to go as long as she did against Thunder Rosa? You want to get Rosa over as somebody who is a threat to Shida. Now, why are you... Why? Just why? Why is Serena Deeb able to take Rosa the distance, even though she loses, when we want Rosa to look strong? It's for this match. Because Serena Deeb earns the title shot against the for the NWA Women's Championship as part of the reason why is because of that match. Some great partnerships, some great storytelling being done here. And this match is incredible, I gotta say. One of the better women's matches I've seen in some time. For me personally, I don't know where I would put it overall, but to me this was a 3.75 star match. It's not the best women's match that we've reviewed here on Dark. I would still say that's either Deonna Purrazzo and Jordan Grace, one of their two, the Iron Woman match, or it's Thunder Rosa versus Allison Kay when Rosa won the championship. But this is really good. And what I liked about it is the fact that Serena Deeb picked up the win. Your new NWA Women's Champion is none other than Serena Deeb, who is signed to AEW. If we didn't think that there was a partnership, if we didn't think that there was synergy before, there is definitely synergy now. And that synergy is what's going to allow Serena Deeb to be a qualified challenger or competitor against Hikaru Shida down the road, because she was able to beat Thunder Rosa. Shida beat Thunder Rosa. Deeb beat Thunder Rosa for the title. Can she now beat Shida for the title? I doubt that this means that they're going to face each other at Full Gear. I think that they might do a Nyla Rose rematch, but I am interested in seeing Shida versus Deeb now. And I'm interested in seeing what they do with Deeb as the NWA Women's Champion. Really great match. Hats off to both women. And congratulations to Serena Deeb. She cut a really good promo after the match. And then in the main event, we have Chris Dickinson picking up a win over Peter Avalon. Oh, wait, another AEW talent. And here for the tournament to crown the UWN World's Champion. So, guys, some phenomenal wrestling, some phenomenal action. I'm interested next week as we get more of the UWN World title matches. I'm interested to see Aaron Stevens and Question Mark versus Eli Drake and James Storm. We've talked on the Bound for Glory roundtable about James Storm potentially being something of a freelancer, whether he's actually going to sign with WWE, as was originally the plan before the pandemic started. Will that mean that they take the tag titles off of Drake and Storm? Let's see. Whatever happens, guys, we will be with you every step of the way as we march towards AEW Full Gear, as we march towards now Hard to Kill in January, as well as the 2 Impact shows I believe that they're having in November and December. And as UWN builds toward, as NWA, UWN builds towards some kind of inaugural pay-per-view as part of this UWN era. We will be with you every step of the way, guys. As always, I am the Stat King. We are also marching towards a 1-year anniversary for Dark Powerrr. Thank you guys for being with us every step of the way. We appreciate you more than you guys know. And until next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Happy Halloween. Depending on when you were watching this, Halloween may have already happened, or maybe the day of Halloween. Sometimes my show gets put up on Saturdays. Sometimes it's a little bit later. It's always it's always because my internet is horrible when it comes to uploading to our shared drive. But either way, guys, happy Halloween. If you're going to be out trick-or-treating or whatever you guys are doing, just remember to stay safe. This virus is continuing to keep all of us down, but just like Serena Deeb, just like Hikaru Shida, just like any Darby Allin, great example, when you persevere, or actually no, Rich Swann, when you persevere, good things can happen. So everybody stay safe, and until next time, I'll catch you.